this is Phantomir, and my first tutorial on how to make an origin. So we're going to start off by you should probably get yourself a text editor of some kind for JSON files, as that is what Datapacks use. In my case, I prefer the IntelliJ IDEA, and I'll put a link to it down in the description, but just kind of it's helpful. It inputs commas where I need them most of the time, and just kind of clean and looks nice. So this is what's open right here, and so yeah, from there we're gonna go straight into how to make the data pack. Alright, to start off, go into your worlds folder, your saves folder. You can do that by, if you're on Windows, you can type run, and it should bring up this run box here where you can type in appdata %appdata%. Once you enter that, it should bring you into your roaming folder where you can click on .minecraft, go to navigate to the saves just beneath resource packs, and in here you'll find all your worlds. So it's preferable to make a world beforehand. You need to make a world beforehand if you want to make a data pack. Yeah. It's possible to make one without the world, but if you're going to be making an origin, you want to test it inside the world. So we can go in here, and as you can see, you have your advancements, your data, and right here is where you're going to go, data packs folder. Now, I put these immediately, but obviously you're going to want to make another folder. Name it whatever you want for the data pack. So I'm going to go with tutorial data pack. Alright, so we move this data and this pack file in here. And so in this pack file, this pack.mc meta, it basically is telling the program the kind of pack format here. So you need to type it like this, and then have the pack format as 6, the name as tutorial data pack, or whatever you want there, and then description. These aren't actually required, you just need that pack format in there. Don't change it from 6. It's the newest version, and you'll want it as 6. So now that that's out of the way, so in our data packs now, you'll see tutorial data pack. You open that, and then the data folder. Inside here, make a folder. Right click, new folder. Name one, whatever namespace you want to make. So maybe you're making a wither origin, right? You go wither. It can be whatever you want to make, but I recommend making something simple, as that will help later on. But first, you also need to make this origins folder. In the origins folder, you'll have origin layers. So this isn't going to be there by default. You have to make it yourself. So just right click, new folder, and origins. Inside this, you're going to make an origin layers. Make sure to follow directly what I'm doing, otherwise you'll have it wrong and the data pack won't show up probably. So here you have origin layers, and you also need to make sure not to name it origin or something. Inside origin layers you have origin.json. Now in a future tutorial probably I will show you how to make a separate layer, but in this one we're just making a standard origin to go with it. If you were making another class for origins classes, let's say, you would name this class inside origin layers. So if we go back out of here, actually wait, no, inside origin.json, if you open it, all that's going to be in here is the list basically of the origins you want. You have replace and you have origins. It's possible to add more than that. You can you will be adding you add replace, and then if it's false or true, so false means that you're just adding on to the list of origins that already are. But if you want to make a say a rework of the origins, let's say you want to change feline because it's garbage, you'll put this to true, and then you'll list, say, Origins Endirian, right? And then after that, you'll say, in JSON, you need to remember commas, as those signify the end of lines. And if you don't put a comma, it will break the entire thing. I will put a link to JSON parser down below that will check and see if you missed commas easily. But if you use something like, say, IntelliJ IDEA like this, you'll have that little. If you saw it, it'll show you there's a problem, right? So you just put a comma there, goes away, and then you make whatever you want other than that. So expanded feline, say, then you list all the other origins you want in there. That's how to make. That's not all of it. You have to give your origins something else, but that's the basis. But today we're doing tutorial zombie, and replace false, as I just want to add it normally. Now, once that's all done, you have your origin.json inside your origin layers, which is inside your origins, which is inside your data folder. You go back into data, you go into your namespace. Alright, now in here, you'll have to make new folders again by right-click, new, and then folder. Or however you make a new folder on your machine, whether it be Linux or Mac. As for this, I'm using Windows. So in here you have your origins and your powers. Again, be sure that it's not origin and power or origin and powers or whatever. It needs to be origins and powers. Otherwise, it won't work. So in origins, this is where you're going to put the origin JSON files that you want. So I have zombie.json, as you can see. So if we open that up, what's inside here is you have your powers list, and this is an array, which means multiple things go inside it. And this is where you list your powers. So here I'm going to put tutorial heliophobia. And like I said before, if you notice, there's that tutorial, and if you make it something simple and short, kind of like that, but still somehow descriptive for your namespace, it's going to be much easier to actually use, use it as a namespace, because you won't have to be typing it in a lot. So heliophobia, I'll show you in a moment here, which is just a power I created. It's not I'll go step by step with it for you. But here you put your icon. It's possible to put modded icons if you want. Perhaps you're playing another mod. You'd put the mod name, mod item, like so, but then you have to put dependencies on that. So, but for this, it's just going to be Minecraft Rotten Flesh. Okay, so now that we've added the icon for it with Minecraft of Rotten Flesh, we're going to go into order. Now, order, what this is going to do is going to affect what where your origin appears. So if you you want it to appear last all the way at the end, then you'd put 10. And this actually isn't required. If you leave it out, it will set it as a very high number and put it basically at the end. So for mine, I'm just going to set it as simple, let's go a nice 7. Alright, impact. Now, as an origin, you have your 1, 2, and 3 impact. And this is, order goes and fits into impact, so it's not going to appear at the end unless you put 3 and then 10 here, or, whatever number. If you put 3 here, which is highest impact, that's going to put it at the end automatically. So, for this, I think it's just going to be a 2, because while you may not be able to, go out in the sun as much, it's not going to completely overhaul how you play the game. So now that you can hopefully see the code better, There's tutorial heliophobia, and Minecraft Art and Flash, Order 7, Impact 2, and now here in the name we're going to put zombie. Alright, as a description, a walker of the night and the living dead. Alright, so now that that's done, that is all you need. But make sure that whenever you make a new power that you give it here. And in the power, it doesn't have to be a custom power. You can do an Origins power. So where you can find those as in the wiki, which I will link down below. Very helpful. So you can list perhaps maybe like water or something along those lines, you know, if you want the Origins Elytra power. But we don't need that for this. Alright, going back into your tutorial here, tutorial folder, or whatever you named your folder, going back out of Origins, you have your powers. And here is heliophobia. I named that, and this is where all your powers are going to go. You can put another folder. You can put more folders in Origins as well, but then what you'll have to do is say you made a power here and you go zombie, maybe you named the folder zombie, and then do it like this so that you have the slash leading it to that. Alright, now opening heliophobia, I did put in the code here. So when you make a power, you need to put the type. The type essentially decides what kind of power this is going to be. And make sure that this isn't, when you put Origins burn, it's not saying that you're using the power Origins burn, it's saying you're using the power type. Now, Origins burn is going to set your player on fire. So, on different intervals. Intervals is the number in ticks at which it will light the player on fire. So 20 ticks equals 1 second. Keep that in mind whenever you're doing something with ticks. And make sure to keep it, this is an integer. So if you are used to floats or something, don't do, you know, that or that. It's just 20. That's 1 second. So every 1 second, it's going to be setting you on fire. Next, we have our burn duration, which is also in ticks. So this lasts 1 second as well. So you get set on fire for 1 second, it lasts for 1 second. After that, we have the condition. The condition tells you when is this power going to happen. If you don't put a condition on this, you're going to be burning all the time. So inside conditions, you have condition types as well. You put that type again. And in here, Origins exposed to sun. This one doesn't require anything else, but the other powers we're going to have will. This basically, you know, pretty self-explanatory. If, you know, exposed to the sun, you're going to burn. Your interval and your burn duration. Again, this is just the Origins burn. Most other powers aren't going to have things like this. I like to put it at the bottom, but honestly, this can go anywhere. But then you type name. This is going to be the name of your power, and it shows up in, you know, underlined and larger to show the name of the power. So for this, we're just going to say heliophobia. Alright, under that, description, which lists, you know, pretty self-explanatory again, what this power does. And so I'm just going to type that as a zombie, you will burn in the sun. Something as simple as that, whatever you'd like to do. So on the next power, again, in powers, the powers folder just inside your namespace, where I have heliophobia.json there, I made another power called undead.json. So in here, we have our power type. Now for this one, it's going to be Origins attribute. So what this is going to do is it's going to affect, you know, your health, your speed, anything like that. And this is where we decide, basically, what it's going to be. We make a modifier, which is an object, meaning you need to do this when you make brackets. Alright, inside that you're going to put attribute. Inside that, well, not inside that, but then you're going to put some more quotes after a colon, and inside those is where you're going to put your attribute. So what we want to do is Minecraft generic dot max health. So that decides that we're going to be affecting how many hearts you have. Alright, so after Minecraft generic dot max health, which like I said is going to be affecting our hearts, how many hearts you have, we're going to go in here, we're going to put an operation. So this is telling the program what it's going to do. And here you have a few different choices, where you have multiply base, which is going to take whatever you have, as your base, and multiply that by whatever you put as the next thing, which is value. And here you put an integer of, like, whatever you want. But for this, I'm going to be using addition and subtracting. So while it might say addition, which can be off-putting for some people, it's just doing addition or subtraction, same as multiply base is if you do, say, a negative 0.4. That's going to divide. Another thing is the multiply total, which is kind of self-explanatory in of itself, multiplying that. Alright, so what I'm going to use is the addition, and you don't need that was an accident, but that's a good thing. You don't need to use symbols if you want it positive or negative. You just, if it's going to be positive, sorry, I said that wrong. If it's going to be positive, you just type the number. So 3, that gives you 1.5 hearts, because every 1 is a half heart. So if you do 20, that gives you an entire other bar of hearts. If you do negative 10, that makes it so you only have half as much hearts. For this, I'm just going to give it a nice, easy negative 6, so they have 3 less hearts. For the name, we're going to put undead. Description, you are a zombie, and so you are weaker. Alright, so as now that that's done, this is everything we have. And since I add another power, what I'm going to have to do is go in here into zombie.json again, and all I have is heliophobia. So if I went into game right now and tried to test the origin, it wouldn't show up. What I have to do is add tutorial undead. So that adds, it registers the power as part of my origin. Now let's test this in game. All we have to do is reload. This is going to reload your data packs, and you want to do this every single time you make a change. Okay, so let me grab an orb of origin. Oh, orb of origin. So we can use this, and let's find out if our origin shows up. And there it is. Alright, impact medium, a walker of the night, the living dead. As a zombie, you will burn in the sun. You are a zombie, and so you're weaker. So if we choose this, let's switch to survival. As you can see, I'm the sun over there burning me, and down there I have only 7 hearts. Actually, yeah. Alright. Oh, I made an error, I believe. Okay, if we go into heliophobia, what actually burn duration is in seconds, not in minutes. I mean, ticks. So we set that to 1, and we won't be burning for as long. So we reload again. And if you are the origin, when you when you make a change, you're gonna need to kill yourself, unfortunately, because otherwise the change won't take effect. So now, as you can see, we go into the sun, we burn, we step out, we don't. So that's all working nicely. Alright. Okay, so on to the next power. For this one, I named it Scavenger because I couldn't think of a better name. Again, that's just inside powers here, all with the other ones. And so then we go into our text editor. And this one is going to be the type of Origins starting equipment. So what this one's going to do, you know, again, it's kind of self-explanatory. It's going to change the equipment you start off with. So maybe, you know, you're a spider and you want to start off with you're an arachnid and you want to start off with silk. This is how you do it. You know, you can modify the arachnid, make it start off with string. Okay, so next we're going to make stacks, and you can that makes it an array, but since I want multiple things, it's going to be an array. If you don't want it, it's just stack. But for this, it's going to be stacks. Okay, so in here, this is where we're going to put you know, with the items we want. So I put in more brackets right here, and then in here we're going to go item Origins. No. Minecraft shovel, iron shovel. And then you can just copy and paste that if you want, if you're lazy like me. You can go Minecraft potato, and then beneath that, count, and let's go 2. Seems I made another error. It is not count, it is amount. So you're not required to put amount if it's only going to be 1, because it defaults to just 1. So if I, you know, set this to 2 as well, it's not going to. If you just want the 1, you can just do that. All right. For this, you don't need a condition. You know, you need to condition it, like check if the origin is the right one. You're just going to add, you know, if you want, you can make it hidden, and that's something I haven't covered yet. But if you like, you can put this at the top or the bottom, hidden, and then true or false, and it automatically defaults to false. So you don't need that in to start off. You don't need to put that in if you want it to actually show up, because it shows up automatically. We'll make the description. Alright, so the name, I'll say Scavenger. You managed to pick up a few items in your undead travels. So, the reason for this, you know, you're playing through Minecraft, you'll see zombies with iron shovels and stuff, and they drop potatoes sometimes and carrots and stuff. So we'll have them start off with some potatoes and an iron shovel. So now, again, to apply this, we're going to have to go to our Origins folder, open our zombie.json, and we're going to have to add tutorial. No, sorry. Tutorial Scavenger. Don't forget your commas. Okay, so inside here, depending on where you want these to show up, like maybe you want your downsides to only be on the bottom, you would have to format it that way. So let's say I want this one at the top, since it's a, you know, an upside, and those two are downsides. Those are going to be the only downsides as well. And there's nothing special you need to do for downsides. In my Genesis data pack, I did make it so you only, the upsides and downsides are different colors, but that is not required. And now, see, yeah, that's working, but we need to reload again. We reload that. Alright. So now that's going to apply it, but as you can see, we don't have it in our list of, we don't have anything in our inventory. That's because it only applies when you first choose it. but you can see it shows up here. So we select this. We start off with an iron shovel and a potato, like that. So, you know, pretty simple that way. Next power I'm going to add is called a, this is going to be a stacking status effect. And what it's going to do is give you night vision, essentially, lasting, you know, longer, the longer you're in night, kind of. So we'll call this one Nocturnal, since, you know, zombies only come out at night. Okay, so if we open that, we'll have a new JSON, and you just make those brackets there to start off. Alright, type, Origins stacking status effect. In namespaces, we realize that you can never have spaces, which is kind of funny because it's called a namespace, but you need those underscores there, unless, you know, so for something like a name like this, you can name it like, you know, something like with a space in there, and that's gonna work fine. It's just for namespaces. And then description. Alright, so if you go up here, we're going to start off, and what you have is min stacks and max stacks, and this is minimum stacks and maximum stacks, so we'll start with minimum stacks. Okay, so let's say we want them to slowly adjust to maybe the nighttime, alright? So you're going to put it as a negative, meaning that it takes them a minute to get up to it. So this is like, you see this with Elytrian, however you like to say it, in standing under something, you know, claustrophobic. It takes a minute to kick in. That's how they do it. You put a negative. Let's go with just a little 8 there. All right. We do not need so many spaces. Max stacks. And obviously, kind of self-explanatory again. It's maximum, the amount of stacks you can get, and the stacks are determining basically how long this effect is going to be. And so in here we can put, let's go, nice 20, and after that, duration per stack. So this is going to, you know, determine how much these are worth, kind of, you know, how long these are going to last. And this is in ticks as well. Well, this is not ticks. This is just counting stacks. So this is ticks, and you're going to have to do, you know, depending, like if you want 5 seconds, that's 20 times 5, you know, something like that. So for this, we're just gonna type, thinking maybe 60. So 3 seconds per stack. Now, this, if you think that 3 seconds of night vision isn't very long, it isn't, but it's still going to keep applying the longer the condition is in place. And I'll show you the condition in a moment, you know. Okay, so next we put the effect, and this is going to be an object. So inside that we put the effect again, and this is going to be, you know, the namespace. So Minecraft night vision, like so. After that, you're going to put, you can put duration, but as there's no point to that since you already have the duration per stack. So instead, you can put amplifier. And since it's night vision, that isn't going to affect anything either. So it's basically, you know, it's just applying Minecraft night vision to. One thing I forgot was inside the effect, this effect object, it's not just amplifier and duration. You're going to use, these are optional as well. They default to true, but you have show particles, kind of self-explanatory again. Do you want the particles of night vision to show up? And for this, it's false because it's not really a potion. And then after that, you have show icon, which I'm not going to set to true either, because, you know, it's just kind of, it's like that. Alright, so there is one more thing that you can do, and that is put in is ambient, like so. And I'm going to set this to false, because what this does is it affects kind of like how much the particles show, kind of. It's not, it doesn't affect too much, really, but I could be wrong, but I believe that is what it does. Okay, so now that that's done in there, that effect, we can go on to the condition. And condition, like before, you're going to type condition, and this is also an object. So in here, we're going to put type. And one thing you can do is, like, say, origins and origins or, and you put after that conditions. I wish I could type today. And that becomes an array where you can then put multiple conditions. You know, maybe expose the sun, which doesn't make sense for night vision, but hey, and you know, stuff like that. And depending on whether it's or and, if it's and, then each condition has to be met, otherwise it won't apply. If it's or, then only one of the conditions has to be met. But for this, we just have one condition, which is going to be exposed. Oh wait, no. Okay, so it's not light level, it's brightness is what it's called, and it's basically the same thing. And then you just put comparison. So this is telling you, it's like back in the undead, not, yeah, it's saying the, you know, basically the operation to do. And for this, it's just you have your different, you know, equals, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and it's just kind of those. That's what we're doing. So for this one, we're gonna say is less than, and then next you put compare to, and this is the number you're going to be comparing it to. So you're comparing the light level. If it is less than whatever we put here, then you will get night vision. So I'm going to put 0.8 as the to compare to, which is, you know, 8 light level. Basically, actually, I'm going to set that lower, probably something around 5. So if it's less than 5, you know, if it's nighttime, you're getting night vision, or if you're in a cave, you get night vision, kind of like that. Okay, we're going to call this ability Nocturnal. We're going to say that the description is a creature of the night. You can, after eating so many carrots, your eyes have grown accustomed to the dark. And while that doesn't fit, you know, I can just change that. After so many years in the darkness, grown accustomed to night. Something like that. And obviously, you know, it can be whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. But if you, as long as you don't make the description too long, but you still want to be kind of descriptive so that people know what they're getting into when they choose your origin. So let's go back again and add this to our origin in zombie.json, where we have the others. We go tutorial, and we say Nocturnal. Now that's registered, let's go in here, and we have to die again, unfortunately. But now, as we're back, I'm going to set the time. Alright, now if we give it a minute, remember, there it goes. And you can see it starts stacking. It's going up and up. These are the stacks, basically. And so, the reason I made it a stacking effect is so that when you, say you are in a cave, right? You have your night vision, but then you go out into the sun on accident. I don't want you to lose your night vision immediately, you know? So, if you need to go into the sun for a little bit, maybe, you know, something like that. There's too bright light, basically. So, as you can see, I've got night vision, like a true zombie. So that's all working fine. Last power here is a power I call Cave Monster. And so this is, you know, kind of simple. Sounds like it, kind of what it's going to be. And this is going to modify your spawn so that you're going to spawn in the mineshaft. So, you know, that's kind of pretty good. And, you know, this, I'm not terribly worried about balance in this. I'm just, you know, teaching you guys. So, we're going to make a type. And this is going to be Origins modify player spawn. So, this is going to change where you spawn. And this is how, you know, Blazeborns, they spawn in the nether. You can make, maybe if you want to go in and make it so Endarians can spawn at the end, you can do that using, you know, what I said at the beginning, and I might even make a tutorial on that. So, first we're going to have a dimension, and we're going to say Minecraft, the overworld. And you might just have to put overworld. I believe it's just overworld. And then after that, you can put structure. But the thing here is that it can be anything, really. You can put biome, you can put, you know, different things. So if you wanted to spawn in a specific biome, maybe you make a goat origin and you want them to only spawn in extreme hills, the mountains, or something like that work. So here we're going to put the structure. It's going to be a Minecraft mineshaft, alright? So that's going to make our origin spawn inside of a mineshaft. So after that we're going to put our name and put the name of it, Cave Monster, description, and for this we're going to be you spawn inside of a mineshaft. As simple as that. So this is going to hopefully work. We're going to go over here and into our tutorial here, Origins Zombie, reopen this. Go in here and actually we're going to place this at the top as well. Tutorial Cave Monster. And realize that the namespaces all have to be nice. You know, if you mess it up, it's not going to show up. Okay, as you can see here, I'm inside of a mineshaft, and I have my night vision stacking up to 60. You're going to have 2 powers in this method. There are other methods, such as, I know that Mob Origins, I believe it is, has a hard-coded Java where you're not attacked, you know, as a piglin. But that's, you know, hard-coding with Java. We can't actually do that. So rather, what we're going to do is you're going to be on the same team as the zombie. So you can do this with functions. You can team add zombie, but we're not going to get into functions quite yet. We're just going to do this. And so you're going to do action on callback. So this has multiple different options. You have entity action chosen, entity action removed, entity action I forget, but essentially there's different ones that so for this entity action chosen, it's saying that when you choose this origin, it's going to add this team. Now there's more, you know, there's easier ways to do this. There's far better ways to do this, but for this purpose we're going to be doing it this way. I've set this to hidden, as we don't need this power to show up at all. so you're going to see it's not going to show up. This, you know, execute chosen win orb. That's kind of self-explanatory. When you choose this origin from the orb, it's true. Like we said, at default, it only happens on commands. So that's going to just be in here in our powers. Now, along with the other ones, I named it Zombie Team, so it's making the team for the zombies. And we're going to open Zombie Friend here. And what this one's going to do is a similar thing, except action over time. Action over time is a new power type that you haven't seen, and what it has is different actions, and entity action is the one we're going to be using, but there's also block action, you know, things such as that you can do. And here we see the Origins and. So as Origins and is used a few times, where you can use it as a condition, you can use it as, you know, an entity action. And here we have different actions. You know, if it was different, you wouldn't have actions. That's this part of Origins and it would be the action there. So this is doing two things. It's going to be executing command and executing command. Executing two commands, basically. Well, not basically, it is. And so this is actually all players, which we want it to be only the this basically applies it to whoever runs the command. So we have it activating these commands on intervals. So this also is not the best. You can use a rising action so that when the conditions are met, and so obviously this isn't going to work because we don't have conditions, but for this purpose it is just going to work. Alright, so this second one does not apply to you, but rather applies to all entities that are zombies. You can add this, so I'm going to do this here. You can do Minecraft, you know, zombified piglin, and that's going to, you know, put them on your team as well. And down here I put the name, Friend of the Undead. Zombies will not attack their own, or rather you. So again, this is an entity action, activating over time every 20 ticks, so every second. So yeah, again, it's not necessarily needed to be this way, but this is going to be applying to, you know, every zombie you find and the ones that spawn in, so over time is also good. Alright, and what we could actually do is on the entity action chosen over here in Zombie Team is have a entity action and then type Origins and then actions, and then add this as well as team join. That way it's not running all three commands, but it doesn't really matter for this purpose. Alright, so now that we have these two powers, we're going to have to, again, go back into tutorial, go back into Origins, go back into Zombie, and we're going to be adding these. I'm going to put it at the top because it is a benefit. This is going to be called Zombie Friend is the name of the file, and this is also going to be going up here. And so we have Zombie Friend added, but again, we need both. Even if it doesn't show up, we still need it to be there so as an accessible power. So we can just copy and paste that way, and then change this from Zombie Friend to Zombie Team. Now let's head into Minecraft and reload. Alright, so I realized the issue was actually that I had not chosen my origin via orb and had instead tried to just go to some zombies. As you can see here, you know, I'm in survival. This zombie I can actually just hit him and he still won't do anything. You know, he's my friend there. So You know, you can modify this if you wanted. You can, if you want to go into the code, you can. So if you're in, you know, your powers, zombie frontier, you can add, you know, other things to it. Let's say I want to befriend with skeletons as well. All right. So you know, you're an undead friend. All right. We'll have to kill ourselves again, unfortunately, but it's a good thing that we spawn inside. Oh, that was unlucky. Oh my gosh, this isn't doing well. Okay, as you can see, no, zombie's still not fighting us. Hey guys, and we can look for a skeleton real quick. Speed that up again by skelly egg, and switching into survival. You'll see the skeleton is now our friend. So with that, I believe we have successfully completed our data pack, our origin here. If you look at it, we've got our zombie, impact medium, rotten flesh, walker of the night, and the living dead. You spawn inside of a mine shaft. Zombies will not attack you their own, and actually I will change that. Another thing we're going to do, and I know I keep saying maybe this is going to be the end, but this one is, I might add another after it. I'm not entirely sure, but this one is going to be rotten skin.json. All right, now this one, as we open it, I'm just gonna set that hidden to true because we don't need a name for this. But this is going to be Origins model color. So as you can tell, this is going to affect what the player looks like. So the things we can put in here are alpha, red, whoops, blue, and green. Now, all of these already default to 1.0, to 1. And so these are all floats. And floats, you know, you can do decimal points. You cannot go above 1. That is the maximum. And what alpha is, if you're wondering, is the transparency. So you know how phantoms are translucent? It's because of this. So, with red, you know, it's red, and its effects, it's normal red. We actually don't need the ones we don't want in here, I don't believe. So we just want the green, and I'm going to set that to about 0.5 maybe, and we're going to test how that looks. Alright, well, I realized the issue was that I'm dumb, and I was setting red to maximum, you know, 1. That's why it was turning red. So instead, we're going to set this to 0. Let's go with 8. And as you can see, it's working, but we're very, very green. And I don't want that, so I'm going to be setting it to a higher thing. Maybe 8's just a bit much. Let's try 6. Reload that. And die again. Alright. Final power we're going to be adding to our origin there. And I just want to say thank you for watching, first of all. And before we go on, I'm gonna put a link here to Candy King Kazoo, who made a great tutorial as well. I just decided I would make my own because I don't know, I have nothing better to do. So, but here's the zombie, Walker of the Night, Living Dead. You spawn inside of a mine shaft, friend of the undead. You, the undead, will not attack you, their friend. After so many years in the darkness, your eyes have grown accustomed to night. You've managed to pick up a few items in your undead travels. As a zombie, you will burn in the sun. Your rotten flesh has decayed, so you're not as sturdy as you used to be. So all in all, I think this is a pretty good zombie origin, and I will go into more complicated powers and tweaking these powers to show you some more things you can do to make even even greater, you know, more Origins, more customizable, great things to do like that. One of the things I'm going to do is a sub-races of Origins, such as, you know, of zombies. So a husk, a drowned, things like that, and you can hopefully see those soon. So finally, what we're going to do is, now that you have your entire data pack ready, you can 7-zip. You can turn it into a zip file. Do not 7-zip this. You can do that, not 7-zip. You do not zip up the folder, it's the data pack itself, because it'll make it harder. You'll have to unzip whenever you go to put it into a world or something. And now you have a shareable data pack that all you have to do, you'll just have to do the same thing you did to make it. You can go into saves, you can choose a save and go in there in your data packs folder, drop it in there, and bam, you will have a playable zombie. One thing I did miss is whenever you have an error, the best thing to do first is to, well, first run it through the parser, and which I will have linked, and that will check, you know, like I said, your different, if you got your commas right, all that. It'll check that you have everything all good. Now what I have here is what you do next. So you go back into your .minecraft where your saves folder is. Instead of saves, you go into logs. This is going to show you, you know, your logs, what's wrong, what happened. So you can look through these, and it's got server thread infos and stuff. If there's an error, it'll have error messages, and you can look through those and try and go to where it says the issue is and debug it that way.